Inside of today's video, we're going to be breaking down exactly step by step how to make your offer for wholesaling real estate. Hey yo, what is going on everyone? Devin Knupp here, back at you with a brand new video. And like I said in the beginning, we're going to be breaking down exactly how to come up with your initial offer for real estate wholesaling. And so if you haven't already, before we watch this video, I have a video that I made previously. I'll put it in one of the cards, wherever the cards go on the screen. I'll put a card that pops up that will take you over to a video that shows you step by step exactly how to pull the comps on a house and figure out what it's worth, and then we can jump back over here and figure out what you should do as your first offer for wholesaling a house and trying to get it at a deep discount. And so with this, I'm going to be breaking it down step by step exactly inside of here on what you need to do as far as numbers go in order for it to make sense as a deal. And then on top of that, you're going to be able to figure out how much you're going to be making on a property before anything's signed or anything like that. So you kind of have a rough estimate on the numbers, and we're going to be breaking it all down inside of here as well. And then on top of that, inside of this video, I'm going to be talking about subtracting the repairs from the cost of everything going into the value of the offer. And so if you haven't already, go check out the other video that I have. I'll put it in one of the cards or at least the description on how to figure out the repairs on a property. So go watch those two videos and then come check out this video, because like I said, I'm going to break it down inside of here on what you need to do. Basically just going over the numbers on everything. And so with this, I've talked about it in a lot of other videos, and I'm going to say it again inside of here. And I hate making offers, to be honest with you guys. And the reason being is because I would much rather get the number out of the seller, so that way I know what I'm working with. If we're worlds apart, and like if I make an offer and then all I hear is just a no, obviously like I don't know what's going on. If we're worlds apart and I know that the seller is like all the way on this end, they want retail value for the property and they're not budging from it, then obviously I can just be like, all right, well, like I'm not going to waste my time on this. You can follow up with it, but you kind of save yourself a lot of time by just figuring out the circumstances on what they're looking to get out of the property. Because if they want a lot out of the property, obviously you're not going to be able to wholesale the house, and you can move on to the next one. Or if they're like only willing to discount like $10K or something on a $200,000 house, obviously that's not going to work out too well. So, and then on top of that, if they're like kind of closer to your number, then you're going to be able to work out a deal or some sort. So obviously it's just a time piece, and then you can be able to sign up the deal and make profit on the property. Because the key to this business is finding properties at wholesale price. Basically, we're finding deeply discounted properties, and we can do whatever with them. We can pick them up ourselves, we can find an investor for it, we can do whatever with it. And so inside of this video, like I said, we're going to be trying to find out if it's a deeply discounted property, if the seller is going to be able to work with us inside of here, and all of that type of stuff. So I'm not going to fluff it anymore. Basically, so how it's going to work is I'm going to have like right here, I'm going to just break down the numbers for you guys as I say them aloud. So first of all, let's just say that we were working with the $100,000 house. We're going to use really round numbers. And so what you're going to want to do is, first of all, multiply it by 0.7. So you're going to take off 30% of the house. So down to $70,000 basically. So $100,000 house, we want to get it down to $70,000, and then with that number, we're going to subtract the repairs. So like I said at the beginning, make sure you watch that video so you can figure out what the repairs are inside of a house. But basically, we're going to be dropping whatever the price of the repairs on the property are minus that $70,000. So let's say in this scenario that it is about $10,000. And so with that, we'll also include like if they're delinquent on taxes, we can add that onto there as well, whatever it may be. And then on top of that, whatever liens or anything that like that they have on the house. And so now if it's $10,000, we're left with $60,000 on the table. And then what we're going to want to do is subtract whatever sort of assignment fee that we want to make on this property. So if you want like a minimum of only making like $10,000 every deal, obviously you can't go above this number. So like let's say that we're at $60,000 now. If you subtract another $10,000 for your assignment fee, then that leaves us at $50,000, and that would be our maximum allowable offer, also known as the MAO. And so obviously you can change up the numbers if you're a little bit more loose and just making whatever on the property. You can just subtract 5,000 instead of 10,000. Or if you're one of the big ballers or whatever, that's just like, I'm not making anything less than 20K on a deal, then you can just subtract 20K. Obviously, you can just make it work however you want it. But obviously this isn't the first number that you want to say. And with this, I really want you guys to keep this number in mind. So just have this number in the back of your head whenever you're meeting up with the seller. So, hey, the maximum allowable to offer for this property is like $50,000 or whatever. And the reason being is because you need to figure out where they are on the price and see if you can even get anywhere remotely near that number. And if you guys are worlds apart, like I said earlier, you obviously not going to be able to work out a deal with these circumstances. It's going to be very difficult. But if they're kind of close, then obviously you don't want to just straight up say, hey, I want to do $50,000 for this house, and so on and so forth. So what I really recommend is get the number out of the seller so that way you can figure out what they are looking for on the deal and if it's even worth your time and their time. You really want to figure that out because you don't want to waste anybody's time. And then what's next is, let's say that you do get a number out of them. Obviously, you don't want to just say, hey, like 50,000 is the most I want to go. Obviously, you want to negotiate a little bit. So like what I recommend and what some other people that I found have recommended is that you multiply that MAO by like 15%. And that would be your kind of first number that you throw out there. So that way you have room for negotiation. And if they take your first number, awesome. So if it's 50,000, I think, don't quote me on the numbers. I'm going to be pretty bad. It's going to be like 43,000, something along those lines. I'm probably off, but I'll put the number up. So with the number, let's say it's 43,000. You'll just make the offer of 43,000 and then just kind of negotiate back and forth and just try to get it below that 50,000 range. The lower that you get it from 50,000, the more money that you're going to make, and this is how you know how much you're going to make on the deal. Obviously, you can have a little bit of room for error if you mess up the numbers on the repairs or if you messed up the ARV just ever so slightly. It's okay. You have a lot of wiggle room inside of this deal, especially if you set your assignment fee to like $10,000. You have $10,000 worth of room to, in case like you made the numbers wrong in the wrong way, or if it works out in your favor, you can make even more money. And that's what's awesome about this business. And so with it, like, I know that I said 0.7 inside the video. It really depends on the market. I know there's some markets where it's going to be very hard to get it under that number. But with this, there's just a lot of deals out there. And you're just going to have to keep playing the numbers. And there's always going to be deals that are just completely insane and ludicrous and ridiculous. But there are some people that are willing to work with like a 0.8 instead of a 0.7. And so with this would be more, maybe if it's more like rentals and rehabs and everything, or if you're in a really competitive market where people are willing to work with smaller percentages, maybe even if it's like $1 million homes and bigger properties, but those take a special buyer for those types of deals. And so with this, you guys can just take this formula and run with it. Honestly, just take like a screenshot. I'll have it up on the side, like I said. And once you have this screenshot, just refer to it if you ever need help with anything as far as like trying to figure out the numbers that stuff goes. And so let's say that on top of this, I'm just going to add one more thing. If they have a mortgage or they owe taxes on the property, so let's say that they owe, like in a scenario where they owe like $30,000 in taxes. I know that's completely a lot, but whatever, we'll use it for the scenario for a $100,000 house. So if they owe $30,000 on taxes or they have a mortgage for that much, and you offer them, let's say $25,000 and they accept it. If that is the case, then the seller is going to have to bring $5,000 to the closing table. The reason being is because they owe $30,000 and you're offering them $25,000. They have to cover the difference because at the end of the day, the mortgage or the tax liens have to be paid off in order for the transaction to happen, in order for them to give you the title. So the seller is going to have to bring the money, and that's a rare occasion. It rarely happens. It does happen sometimes, but chances are the seller's not going to be able to bring the money to the closing table to get this property off their hands. Now, obviously, if it's like a really extreme situation, it might happen, but like I said, it's pretty rare. And so with this, you're going to have to be conscious. So like if let's say you do $30,000 and they owe $30,000, they're not making anything. Or if you offer them $35,000, they accept it and they owe $30,000, then they're going to be making $5,000 on the deal. So whatever they owe on the property is going to be subtracted from whatever they offer. And if they accept your offer that's less than what they owe, they're going to have to bring the money to the closing table and figure that out themselves. So just understand that. That's how that works. You can always offer them less, but the chances are pretty low that they're going to take it unless they're extremely motivated or underwater some sort of way. So that's kind of how that side of things works. But as far as things go, this is the formula that I use for whenever I do a deal. I usually just kind of run the numbers pretty quickly. And so that way, if I'm like kind of thrown into a situation, I know somewhat of what I'm working with. Obviously, a little bit more research helps before you go out on a deal. I usually like to look at Zillow and just kind of pull up the comps and everything and just kind of figure out what everything's going to be worth. Obviously, you can always ask the seller what they think the property is worth, all fixed up, really looking nice, all of that stuff. So that way the numbers can make sense for them and you kind of have something to run with, but you obviously can't always trust the seller's number. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys in today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Figured I'd make a super simplified out video for you guys covering on what you need to offer for a house when you're wholesaling houses. So anyways, if you haven't already, join the fam, join the gang by hitting the subscribe button down below. Also, if you know someone that needs help with this, share them this video. Just send them the link, and so that way you can just have them be explained on how all this works if you know anybody that's having trouble with this. And so, like always, if you want to see more videos like this, smash the like button, and I'm uploading every day. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.